What's going on, man? How are you, Bill Hader?
How's it going?
We're glad you could come in earlier. We're happy to see you.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Hello.
Congratulations,
Hello.
by the way. 17 Emmy nominations for Barry. Does it really, like, do you, I mean, obviously you want to win, but do you obsess over that?
No.
I would.
You would?
Yeah, of course I would.
No, I don't really. I mean, it's so out of your control, and it's just like a nice thing they give you, and you're like, oh my gosh. And it sounds like, whatever. No one believes this stuff, but it really is like with so many TV shows, just to be like in the mix on that. You're like, are you kidding? Wow.
You're
awesome.
happy.
Yeah, because all those shows on there. I mean, Fleabag, I think, is like a genius. I love that show. I've actually watched it twice, and last year the same thing with Atlanta. I just watched it more than once, both seasons. I was like, these things are great.
So you
They're
watch
brilliant.
everything. I don't watch any of that stuff. You watch all of it.
I don't watch all of it. I watch stuff I'm like kind of interested
Or
in.
anything that's kind of in that.
Yeah, everything I'm usually like interested in. I try to catch.
So since you create a television show, though, when you see something that you're like, that's genius, is there any part of you that goes like, fuck, why can't I be that genius?
No, it's just
See,
two
that's
separate
so
things.
healthy.
It's just it's just two separate things, I mean, the biggest thing I might come out of it is, you watch something and go, oh man, we could probably, it's a good thing to, maybe pay more attention to our dialogue or something. Because, the Fleabag, the dialogue in it is so good. It might be something like that, or watching Atlanta and say, oh, we could probably be more cinematic or something. But it's very small, It's
Do you think
its
you'd
own
be that
separate
healthy,
thing.
Jim?
No.
Or would you be sitting there going like, I'm never going to be this good?
Always.
Yeah,
no matter
right?
What, no matter what I'm watching, I say that.
Well,
When I watch porn.
you know what? Do you know what? It probably came from was being on Saturday Night Live, and just when you start there, it's so competitive for so long that you just have to, in order to like survive, just to kind of like let go of things and go, oh man, that was so good. I remember my first season. You're trying to stay on, you think you're gonna get fired, and then those guys did Lazy Sunday, and I was just like, not mad, but just like, why didn't I think of something like that?
Right, yeah.
This thing is huge. And you just go, oh, what am I doing? But then you just realize it's all kind of waves, and it's ebbs
You're like,
and
I wrote a
flows.
rap song about Star Wars, guys. I
Hey,
was
Star
thinking this
Wars,
could be
how about this?
good.
No, yeah, you just as long as you realize. I realized at SNL the only thing I could control is the output. Like what I was writing, and that was it.
And do you think when you have that, I was going to say, when you have that SNL pressure, does it make other pressures go like, this is way easier? Like when you're in a really bad relationship, it makes it really easy to deal with the little problems of good relationships.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
go, oh, well, this is nothing.
Right.
Yeah, this is nothing.
Right.
Eddie is going to guest host this year, and everyone's talking about it. When you were there, was there people who would guest host where there'd be like that? Is there a different energy in the building when a guy like that is going to guest host, or do people, they just don't give a shit after this point?
I mean, it's you know what? There's a different energy maybe in my experience at like the top of the week, and then by Friday you're just like everybody else. Everyone's tired, and you're like, oh hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
I remember
Eddie
like,
Murphy, how's it going?
like Mick Jagger came in. We're like, oh my god, Mick Jagger, and then by the end of the Friday we're like, hey dude, you're not on your mark, or, or whatever. I'm sorry. Oh god.
Yeah, I guess you get used to it fast.
Yeah. And also you're just tired, so your defense, that nervousness kind of like can go away.
And you have to perform in front of people live on television, so the
Yeah.
pressure of that is a lot more in play than the
bigger
pressure.
than it's usually weirdly in retrospect. Like I remember Robert De Niro hosted, and I mean, he's one of my heroes as far as an actor. I mean, growing up watching him and everything, and it didn't hit me until I was walking in the hall like 2 years later and saw a picture that they had framed of us, that I was like, God, I performed with De Niro on the show. That's so wild.
Right.
You know what I mean? But in the moment, you're so like worried about the sketch and about to perform on live television and all this stuff.
And by the way, we're doing another show next week.
Yeah,
we're doing
by
this
the
again
way,
next week.
Yeah, and by the way, we got someone else next week. And do you have any ideas? And your mind's so preoccupied with so much things.
When a guy like that pitches a sketch, because everybody do like the guest hosts pitch sketches as well.
Yeah.
What do you do if like a De Niro pitches a sketch and it stinks, or Jagger or somebody?
Well, you try it. And, you try it and you try to dress, and hopefully they'll see like, oh, that doesn't work, and or they don't, and it goes great. It goes great at dress, and I've had that happen before. We're all like, oh, what is this thing we're doing? And then you do it at dress, and it kills, and you're like, oh,
All right.
Well, they know something we don't, I guess. You know.
Do you develop a confidence when you get to the point that you got to, where you're in more sketches than you're not in, and you kind of become one of the go-to guys that everybody uses? Does that sort of early, like, oh, I don't want to get fired thing go away because you realize?
Yeah, the I don't want to get fired thing goes away, but for me, the being on live television anxiety never went away. I was always like, oh God, this is terrible. Just the lead up to it is awful.
Do you enjoy being on movie sets?
Yeah, because you can get a second take. It's not live, and you can mess around, and you can kind of mess up, and no one cares. And it's
so
great.
funny because it's almost like I feel like on some level I guess it's because I'm not on very many movie sets, but I'd be like worried about, oh, I don't want to disrupt, like, there's so many people here, they're counting on this, they're blah, blah, blah.
Oh, no, yeah.
But
they're all, it's all like, because now I've been on every side of it, they want you to do well. So as long as, you know, I mean, if they're cool, they just want you to do well and you know, make you comfortable. And you have it really is just having a second take. All my anxiety was down to, like, I have one chance to land this on national television, and if I don't, it's gonna stink.
And you know if it's bombing because it's comedy, so you know if it's like working or not immediately.
The worst feeling on earth, where I can hear my footsteps during the sketch, and I'm like going, "Oh my God!"
Do you know there's a spot on the Comedy Cellar stage where I step and I can hear like. You can hear the creaking, and when you're performing and I hear that, I'm like, they have to hear that in the back, and they know that it's not getting what it's supposed to get.
Oh, it's the worst. It is the worst feeling on earth.
Have you heard them thudding across the stage?
Oh my God, yeah. I did a sketch. I've done so many sketches. Oh God, we did this one sketch with Josh Brolin. We did one called Fart Face with Josh Brolin that bombed terribly, which was a shocker, right? But it was me and Will Forte, and we were businessmen, and but that bombed. And then Josh Brolin did another one where he was talking about the fall foliage. Am I saying that word right? Foliage. And it's him just going, anybody gone up to see the fall foliage? Oh. You know, and it's a big business thing. He's like the buttery browns, the beautiful yellows, and the whole thing is that we just don't say anything, and it bombed so bad. Live television, just silence, and then he leaves, and then I started laughing because Kenan Thompson had to say this line that is so offensive and terrible, which he goes, I went and saw him. This is awful. This is not funny. He said, I went and saw him go to the fall foliage. And they go, oh, yeah? And how was it? And he goes, he allowed me to be raped.
Kind of funny.
and funny, you know, so that we're waiting. I start laughing because Keenan, the look on his face was like, I gotta say this fucking line after this thing just ate shit.
Knowing that you're not putting a punctuation on an explosion.
No, it's like, and this thing is gonna just make it worse.
How did that line work?
Oh, I think you actually could hear people go, no. Just chilled the room.
So
it bombed completely.
Oh, it derailed the whole. I feel like it derailed the rest of the, like, nothing worked after that.
What do you do when you walk off after such a bomb and it's a team effort? You know, it wasn't, you know.
None of us wrote. Keenan didn't write the sketch. No one wrote it, and I felt bad for him. And like you, that would happen all the time, where you would just get a line like that, or you have to play a character, and you're like, I just feel really weird about this, guys, and then you just, in your head, you're like, I hope people know I didn't write this. You know?
And you know it's bombing immediately.
Oh, immediately. The minute it goes out, just the audience, the look on their face is just, no.
Is there much less pressure to do something like you did for it, like when it's a dramatic role? Like, I'm sure that, you know what I mean, when you're not there to necessarily make people laugh every 25 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, nothing's like Saturday Night Live, because I mean, even doing it, you know, or Barry or any, I mean, even doing Superbad, you know, there's no like real pressure, you know, like that, you know, as far as having to be funny, you know, because you could try certain things and it doesn't feel funny on the set, but then they cut it in a way where it's hysterical. You know what I mean? I mean, you could get a different way of doing it, but on SNL, or like you're saying, stand up, I mean, that's the worst, where just immediately, and you're in the room performing it, and there's no way you can't consciously go, this isn't working.
So they always know it. Like when you're watching and they're doing it, like that they know they're bombing.
Right. Yeah. They don't. It's not like they don't know. And then sometimes you just towards the end of the season, kind of going back to your earlier question, I did a sketch with Justin Bieber where I was like this old country music star, and he was my son, and we were singing a song, and it bombed so bad, and the wall almost fell on Justin Bieber. Like the set started falling apart, and
the set was just giving up on the sketch.
Yeah, the set was giving up on the sketch. They didn't bring me any of the right props.
Oh my!
And it was just one of those things where you just slow down and just like almost bask in how terrible it's going.
Right.
And then that becomes really fun.
Did he know it was going bad?
No.
Yeah, see, a lot of times people who are not in comedy, they'll think that was pretty fun, and you're like, that
No, that went terrible. What are you talking about? You didn't, but also you're like, no one was laughing. What do you mean that went great? That's when I would go nuts, like the thing would bomb, and then you would walk off, and someone would go, that was great. And I was like, don't lie to me.
Would you tell us, so if a celebrity guest host were to think it was, you're like, that's pretty good, right? Would you be like, no?
It depends on who it was.
Yeah.
You know, if it was like Paul Rudd or someone like that, you'd be like, Jesus, oh God. And he's like, I know, man, that went bad, or whatever. But if it was someone like, Justin Bieber, you're not going to go, what was that? If they're not a comedian.
Right.
But because there are people that tell him it was great too. As soon as he walks off, his people are like,
oh my God, that was amazing. That was amazing.
So funny.
You were so funny. And we're all kind of going like, no one was laughing.
Yeah. The indicator of so funny didn't happen, which is the sound.
No one was laughing.
But it does give you a peek into like what mentality goes into the decision making on that level of celebrity, because you have people around you that would just be sitting there trying to convince you that things are as they aren't. Like things are good even if they're not good. And maybe you want to be convinced of that. Maybe
I like it when people are like, that was terrible.
Right, that didn't work at all.
Or just let me figure it out on my own. Because sometimes people go, it was terrible, and the reverse happens, and you watch it back, you go, no, that played. What are you talking about?
That was okay.
Right.
That was okay. It wasn't like gangbusters, but look, that got a laugh. That got a laugh. You know
how to judge it honestly without like hearing it. Some people hear everything and they hear a laugh with everything, and it's just
and I also, when I was there, was probably so kind of like overly sensitive and exaggerated in my mind. You know what I mean? I'd go off and go, well, that was awful. That was terrible. And it was like, you can't convince me otherwise. And then, you'd see it back or something. And go, actually, that went great.
But the best is when you know you're too sensitive about your own stuff, and you go, that felt like it was horrible, but I'm probably being too sensitive. And then you go back and watch it, and you go, oh fuck.
No,
that
was really terrible.
That was bad.
I was a pretty good judge of it usually. Usually I would just and kind of, again, to your other point, like the longer I was there, it wasn't so much confidence. It was more of like coping or managing it, where you just go, well, I could just turn in my stuff and that's it. And I think the thing that Seth Meyers kind of taught me when I was there, and Amy Poehler as well, is like, this place is competitive. It's like the DNA of the place, but we don't have to be competitive with each other, which is like nice.
Right. Like the performers can cooperate.
You can be excited for people. Like,
yeah.
I remember watching Keenan doing What Up With That, and I played Lindsey Buckingham. I don't say anything in that sketch, and I was just watching him perform, and I'm like, every time we do that, I'm like, man, Keenan's so good.
Yeah.
Like, he was just like dancing and like, and it's all new stuff a lot of the time, where I'm like, oh wait, when did they add that? They must have just added that. Like, that wasn't addressed. Wow, this is great.
Do you ever get jealous?
No, I'm never like a real jealous person. It's more like, it's like you watch those TV shows and you go, oh man, that's good. We should remember to kind of do this.
Yeah.
But it's like separate stuff. Like,
no, I mean in the live performance when you're watching a guy kill and you're like, ugh.
Oh no, I don't know. I'm like either it's like I'm in a good place, or I'm like a manic depressive. I'm like fully just giving up on some level. No, but I think
there's
it's more
a switch. It's not a dial.
It's not a dial. It's just a switch. Yeah, exactly. I was like, no, that's it. No, I was always, anytime Will Forte would do a sketch late, I always want to go on the floor and watch it, because there was a chance it would kind of like just shake the audience, because it was so strange or something, and I just loved it. It was great.
When you're depressed, is it because of work stuff, or do you just get it for no rational reason at all?
I'd say that that was kind of a joke. My problem is more anxiety. It's less like depression, more like I get really anxious about. It's more like it's like what do you call it? Anticipatory anxiety. It's like, okay, we're about to go on. Do I have my, do I know what I'm going to say? Do I know what I'm going to do? Is this going to go well? Is that, well, this could happen, this could happen, this can happen. But after it's done, I don't really look back ever.
What was the schedule like on that, on the anxiety? Would the anxiety just kick in like right before you're going on stage, or like right around Thursday, Friday, do you go, okay, we have a show on Saturday?
It changed as I was on the show. When I first started, it was like Monday pitch meeting. I was like, I can't breathe. And then by the time I was, last couple of years, it was right before the show would start. It would just hit. And what you would do is you would just kind of go, oh, all right, here we go. Here it is. Instead of fighting it, it's just like, all right, let's just let this happen.
There are people that say like they like the anxiety because it means that they're still passionate, they're still interested. Do you think that that's true, or would you have?
No, mine was like I had the flu. It really was like the room would start spinning, and I would be like, I might pass out, and I mean, it was really. And then I just felt like everybody was like, God, you're so dramatic. Yeah, and you're like, I'm not being dramatic. I'm like, serious, guys, I can't.
But you feel like you're in a room full of professionals, and you're an amateur.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah,
how are they not feeling this?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. I would be sitting there in the meeting before air, and I'm like, how is everybody so calm right now? Like, I'm about to pull my skin off. I'm so terrified.
It's such a weird thing because going into it, you're like, this is my dream job. When it's happening, you're like, just let this be over.
Yeah.
You're like, just let it be over. And then once it's over, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm living my dream.
That was awesome. Yeah, it's just like, let's just get through this and calm. And then there's a nice thing that will happen at times where in the middle of something when it's working or you're happy with what you're doing where you can let go of that stuff and you're just having fun. And that's the best where you're not in your head and you're going, oh, this is going great. And you're taking your time and not rushing. And
was there any difference when you started doing stuff after SNL or a little bit during SNL too, when you were on movie sets and TV sets that were not Saturday Night Live? So it's like you didn't have this camaraderie of people that you work with day in, day out over the course of years. It's more of a traditional movie set.
Yeah.
Was it a weird adjustment at all?
No, I mean, I tend to, like, when I show up, I try to, I tend to make a lot of jokes and try to, like, get very comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you do this too, where I just said, like, when I'm around, like, that group of people, like, on a film set, and I gotta, like, perform in front of them and I might fail. I want to be comfortable failing. So I just start doing bits constantly, probably, like, too much. Because I kind of almost want to bomb in front of them so I can relax.
Wow.
Do you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, I'm just making joke. Like on It Too, we had this big scene at a Chinese restaurant. It was our first day of shooting. We shot that way a week. And I was like freaking bit city about everything. And then, like, most of them don't work.
Sure.
And I'm like, all right, that's good. So then when I'm in the scene and I'm doing it and it's like not working, I'm kind of,
you're used to being uncomfortable?
I'm used to being uncomfortable, yeah. And this isn't like a thing I consciously did. It was pointed out to me by someone else, and who worked with me on other movies, and they were like, you did this on the other movie too, where it's like the first week or so you're heavy bit city because you're kind of nervous.
Well, I'm the complete opposite. I'm terribly ashamed, and I feel like I'm an absolute fraud, and as soon as I open my mouth, they're all going to see it. Terror. I admire what you can do much more because it's such a way. Nick DiPaolo is great at that too, where when there's a situation, Nick will just fire out jokes. Mm-hmm. Like he doesn't care who's at the read, whatever it is, boom, boom, boom. Some work, some don't. But you could see how fucking funny he is by the way he's firing stuff out. And that's, even when a joke doesn't work, you still admire the confidence of somebody who's in that situation comfortable. So I admire guys who can do that.
Yeah, Marty Short's that way just in social settings where Martin Short will just make jokes, and some are funny, some are don't. But then they're like, wow, okay, you're just totally, it like relaxes him.
Yeah, and he's good at doing it. Bob Kelly did that. We were at a Thanksgiving dinner and Philip Seymour Hoffman was there, and neither of us knew him. He just happened to be there. And Bob Kelly was so fucking funny. Boom, boom, boom. And I just sat there. Here's a boogie. Like I couldn't function in that situation. The fact he could.
Yeah, it's amazing. I feel like I stay anxious and quiet until people just take for granted that I'm there.
Yeah.
And then once that taking for granted thing is done, then I'm more comfortable because I'm just there now.
Yeah, I just never want to be in a position where I'm like overthinking what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
So I just kind of go,
That's great. That's a really good
and then
thing.
people go, all right. You know, you don't want to be obnoxious, but you know, you're just being like, hey, we're having fun, and then you know, and then people, then I go, oh well, half of those, like most of that didn't work.
I'm afraid it would backfire though, and I would just not do. Like you ever
yeah.
see the thing of De Niro and Don Rickles on the set of Casino, where Rickles is scolding him for not knowing his lines.
Yeah.
And no one's ever spoken to De Niro like that.
And he's just sitting there like,
But he's laughing because it's funny.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
But my fear would be to do that and have somebody go, whoa, you can't.
Yeah, who do you think you are?
I remember doing it to Larry David once, shooting something. I was like, what are you talking about? And I just said that, and my whole stomach just, like, you know, like with one of your friends.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about? And my stomach went, and I was like, and he was like, no, I'm, you know, he was fine. You know what I mean? He was super nice. And it probably, but it was that experience. It could have totally backfired.
In that moment, you realize, like, oh my God, did I just step out of line with Mr. David?
Yeah. I mean, with comedians, I shouldn't. I mean, if a comedian got like that, I'd be like, what? Come on. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, most comedians are probably okay with be teasing them.
Yeah.
But it would just be my fear. I admire the ability to do that.
It's amazing. Was there anybody specifically in the It 2 cast that you were, like, nervous about or anything, or was it just a new setting?
Just a new setting and hoping that, you know, you're going to do well, and you know, it's like a sequel to a big movie, and so you're like, oh gosh, I hope this goes all right. But if you're thinking about that stuff, you'll go crazy. So I think SNL totally helped me with all that, where you just have to throw it all out and go, you know what, none of this matters. Just do good work. Just do work that you're happy with. That's all you can do. That's the only thing you can control. Because what we're talking about really is like trying to control a thing, and it's like you can't. So you just have to just let go.
When you're doing a horror film like that, and the clown is such an evil, shitty being, like when you're in between takes, are you actually just having a regular conversation?
Yeah.
Or is he the type of guy that just wants to walk off and be left alone?
No. Bill Skarsgård is one of the nicest guys in the world. And no, we're just bullshitting. And I'm like, how are you doing, man? Do you want, like, he has these contacts in, fake teeth in. He's like, I mean, they were pouring ice down his back because it would get hot in that thing. And it was super hot out in Toronto last summer. And I was just like, but dude, how are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm fine. Like, he never complained. And we just bullshit about, you know, movies and music.
While he was wearing the outfit.
It must be so weird.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
And I was like, I remember he got me a drink at this place. It was so weird. He was like, oh, you got to get this whiskey at this place. And I remember telling him, I was like, what was the thing I drank last night? And he was like, oh, no, it's here. Let me get on my phone. And he's dressed as the clown. Like, no, you didn't drink anything weird. No, it's this really cool, like, whiskey thing. I was like, all right, because I don't drink a lot, and it really kind of laid me out, man. What was that?
But he's got the big forehead.
He's got the big forehead, and he's like, but he was like, give me my phone, because he can't keep the phone anywhere.
And the facial recognition is like, no.
Facial recognition is like, who the fuck are you? Yeah.
So you're happy with how it came out?
Yeah. I just saw it last week at the premiere, and I was like, geez, this is a big movie. Like, you know, the other people in the movie, like Isaiah Mustafa, PJ Ransom, Jay Ryan, and Andy Bean, you know, some of the other guys afterwards, we were all just going like, what was that?
Am I thinking of that? Jay Ryan, how old is Jay Ryan?
Jay Ryan is, he's a New Zealand actor.
Oh, different guy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we saw a trailer for a show that never got picked up called Where's Rodney? Oh, Jay Thomas is the guy who I saw in that. Okay, Jay Thomas.
Yeah, that's Jay Thomas.
Okay.
Yeah. He's passed away.
Yeah, he did. That's right, it was that Jay Thomas.
Was Jay Thomas on In Living Color?
I don't know if he was on In Living Color. He was on like Murphy Brown. He was on a whole bunch of sitcoms.
He had a show here at Sirius.
Jay something. Never mind. I'm thinking of someone. I'm thinking of Jay Leggett, who also passed away.
Yeah, there was a pilot for a show called Where's Rodney, where Rodney would show up, and it was not a particularly good pilot. Like this kid,
it was really bad.
This kid was a fan of Rodney, and he could summon Rodney to give him life advice. And they did Thea Vidal. I would love to ask her about it. It was in the pilot. And it was a pilot where Rodney just shows up and does his bits, and it was really...
Yeah, they had Thea Vidal, Breckin Meyer was in it, the girl who played Punky Brewster was in it.
Oh, there was other people. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you play the song for just a second?
Have you never seen the theme song?
No. It's probably not the best.
So this is the pilot.
It wasn't a particularly good pilot.
This is the theme song for a pilot that would have starred Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah. The pilot did.
Yeah.
Called Where's Rodney?
Wait, is he in this?
He is.
He is in it.
He is in it.
Oh, yeah.
Would have starred him. Okay. So.
Right.
Oh, I see. No. Oh, no. No.
mother breastfed me through a straw. Thank you for returning me.
Oh, no.
My family tree, 2 dogs were using it.
Oh, no. Wait, is that the kid from Big? His friend in Big?
Might have been. It had the same haircut.
Oh, no.
Yeah, as the teacher.
Except she's got Tina Turner hair.
Yeah, the saucy teacher.
That's Punky Brewster.
Wow.
Soleil Moon Frye.
Yeah, I only recognize James.
Breckenmeyer.
Yeah,
looking
Breckenmeyer.
kinda like
Did we
Sean
just have
Penn.
him in or no?
We've had him in before.
We did, yeah, okay. God, I would love
and
to
he
have
has
talked
an
about
Easy
this.
Money poster. Did you see that? Good film. Easy Money poster. Remember that?
That was very funny.
Tyler Negron in that movie goes, gonna call you dad. That? That made me laugh so hard.
Pesci was so fun. It's not going to be my master. He puts out the cigarette and lights another one.
Oh my God, that movie's really funny.
Yeah.
That was directed by the guy Jim Signorelli who did all the parodies at SNL.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a very funny movie.
When I met him, I was like, Easy Money. And he was like, oh, yeah.
I love the end of that theme song because the Rodney Dangerfield, they joke. He's like, my wife is so dumb. I'm like, you can never do that.
But they have
There's so much stuff you couldn't do. Like, just breastfeeding through a straw. It was just that they had to pepper in his act.
Yeah.
In the thing.
I think the joke was like, my wife is so dumb. It takes her 90 minutes to watch 60 minutes.
It takes her an hour and a half to watch 60 minutes.
Where's Rodney?
I saw something with Rodney on Home Improvement recently where he did this guest thing on Home Improvement.
Uh-huh.
And it's where they're just trying to get the jokes in. He's doing the jokes, but the cast is laughing because he's supposed to be Rod, and it was so bad.
He ever got tired of doing his bits on shows? Like, can I just act?
I think as he was much older, he probably couldn't remember all as much.
Like something like Caddyshack? Wasn't it the thing where he first started doing his bit and he freaked out during the first take? He started sweating because no one was laughing.
Oh,
I didn't
really?
know that.
Yeah, Harold Ramis. I worked on year 1, and that was Harold Ramis' last movie, and I think he told me that I was like, we were just asking about Caddyshack, and he said, oh yeah, Rodney Dangerfield just started sweating after the first take, and he freaked out, and he's like, no one's laughing, and I said, Rodney, they can't laugh because of the sound.
They're not
supposed to laugh, and he went, oh, you know.
Wow. Did you really work on Surreal Life?
Yeah. I worked on that.
What did you do on Surreal?
I was like a post PA. I was like the guy in charge of, like taping, like doing copies and delivering the dailies to people.
That's awesome. That was my favorite like reality show. That was when they would just take like washed up celebrities and just put them in a house together.
That's right.
And just
we had the guy who was this guy named Matt Bordofsky was really funny, and I remember he was like one of the producers or line producer on the show or whatever. And I remember one time MC Hammer called him like super mad because a PA and an Acura came and picked him up from the airport, and he had him on the speakerphone, and he said, he goes, what's the problem? And he was talking about himself in the third person, and he said, you do not send a PA and an Acura to pick up Hammer from the airport. Hammer drives in a limousine to the hotel. This is not the way you treat a celebrity. And Matt said, what celebrity are you referring to? Do you guys have friends like that? Like this guy, Matt Bordofsky, he is the quickest, funniest guy. And I was like, man, you got to do stand-up or something. Like, honestly, I'm telling you, I'm doing this stuff. And I still tell him, I'm like,
what does he do?
He like produces like shows like that. But he's like insanely quick and funny like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I get MC Hammer. He's sitting there trying to grasp on to whatever dignity he can. He knows that the show is like not the greatest showcase for celebrities.
Yeah.
But he's like, at least if you don't, could you not pick me up in an Acura? Could you
can
pretend?
Not pick me up in an Acura or whatever? And he was like, no. No, we're paying you because you're washed up.
What celebrity are you referring to?
What celebrity are you referring to? And like so calm and so fast. I just was like, whoa. That was so mean.
Want more Jim and Sam? Catch up with full episodes and interviews from celebrity guests anytime on demand using the SiriusXM app.